it's Georgie Briggs, and welcome to our wellbeing chat. And I wanted to have a talk today about death, which is not a comfortable subject for most people, and certainly not a comfortable subject for myself. And in the last few weeks, it's come up for me, death, as a close member of my family has sadly passed away. And it was an opportunity for me to reflect not only on my relationship with that person over the years, throughout my whole life, but also to ponder death and its impact on us alive. And at first it felt uncomfortable, and I wanted to move away from it and not think about death. And it really isn't something that you're chatting with your girlfriend and you raise that topic. Most people kind of pull away from it because we fear not so much death itself, but we fear how we will die. And that's our biggest fear, our flee from pain and discomfort. However, I do think it's important for our well-being to consider the point of death. Not necessarily the actual point of death, but the fact that that is the one leveller, the one common entity, the one certainty that every single being on this planet will experience at some stage, and that we never know when that time will be. And rather than look at death, I found, as something to shy away from, to bury, maybe that's not the best turn of phrase, but something to move away from, rather something to consider and ponder and use as a tool in our well-being strategy. And because something like death, as I said, is something that we're all going to face, every being, every living being will face, it is something that keeps us focused as a result, keeps us potentially present and aware, but only if we don't run away from it, but rather use it as a tool of inquiry, to ponder, to consider. And part of your wellbeing journey really is to take time to question and to consider and to examine yourself and your life on a regular basis. This helps you to grow, it helps you to thrive, it helps you to find opportunities to release what's holding you back, what's holding you down, what's keeping you in fear. And death is one of those things that we fear. And so when I was listening to someone talking about death, a well-known spiritual teacher, and he said, what would you do differently if you had a week to live? And we've heard that quite often, and we often take it quite lightheartedly, and or we push it away. I don't even want to think about if I had a week to live. Or we suddenly think about, as I did, well, I might do this, I might go here, I might go there. And it was a busyness at first, when I first thought about it. But I gave myself a full 24 hours to consider a week to live. And there was at one point when I was driving to pick up my daughter. I hadn't seen her for a couple of nights. And I'd had a couple of nights on my own in the house. So I'd had this sort of space to consider a question, which happened to be a week to live. And I realised in a moment of clarity that it wasn't about what I could do, what I could achieve. It was about love. And it was loving all that I have in this moment. All that I have in front of me in this moment. And to cultivate that sense of ease that follows from knowing that the most important thing, the most essential thing, is loving what we do and doing what we love. And there's a little subtle difference there. Because we often say, wouldn't it be lovely to do a job that we love? I do a job that I love. However, it's not the same for everybody. Sometimes we feel we're trapped in jobs or circumstances that are out of our control, and that's not true. Everything is within our control. It's within our thoughts and our choices in our mind. So going back to death. So in that moment, it was love. I realised with clarity that the most essential and most important thing that I would cultivate if I had a week to live would be loving what I do and doing what I love. And it's really interesting to look at, even because the next stage of my journey was to be stuck in a traffic jam. So I breathed and I thought, well, can I love this situation? And as I began to relax into it and look at the beauty around me, because nature is always offering you its healing balm, which is its beauty, which is its ordered chaos, which is its unjudgmental holding space, getting on with life without putting on any conditions, any judgment, any rejection, any fear, any hate, any resentment. So nature's always offering us its healing balm. So as I looked around and thought, well, this is it. I can sit here and I can love the nature around me. I can spend time loving it. It was so freeing and so releasing. And it may sound a little out there for you, a little bit too much. Whoa, I haven't got time for that. But you know what? You haven't got time not to love, to truly love. And love where you are and put love in what you do. So whatever you do, whether it's a job that you feel that tires you, that traps you maybe, that you can't find another job and this is the only job that you can do, and that you haven't got the time or the energy or the skills to find another job, slide that aside. Slide in the week to live. Live your life as you live it now. Not the dream, I've got a week to live, I want to fly to Timbuktu, I want to see the Taj Mahal, I want to, all these extravagant and wonderful experiences. It wasn't about that, I found, for me personally. It'd be interesting if you were to spend 24 hours really pondering the thought of a week to live. It was being in a state of love, because from that comes appreciation, and it opens your heart to gratitude. And living in gratitude is a life worth living. And I realised I wanted to have a life worth living, worth talking about. I wanted to lead a life worth talking about. And I am talking to you about it. And that fills me with great joy and great happiness. But it was an interesting concept to ponder. Love and death. So I'm going to leave you with that. I think it's enough, especially it's a sort of strong, big, heavy topic. But maybe, I really hope for you that you take some time to consider death, to consider life, and to see death not as something to fear and escape from and to suppress and not talk about, but as a gift to enable you to focus on what you really want and how you really want to lead your life. With joy, I send you my blessings and my love.